to the Metalcore Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Sean Mott. Today is episode 6, and I have Frank Fanelli from The World We Knew, Cat Clothing, and For the Nomads. So today's episode is all about wrestling. We talk WrestleMania, AEW, NXT. I know a lot of you guys requested a wrestling episode, so here it is. This one's a long one. I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get into that, there's a few news topics. Dana White from the UFC has stated that he's trying to buy an island to host fights for the UFC, which is pretty much the plot for Mortal Kombat, so that's pretty wild. And WWE has finally parted ways with the Revival, leaving them open to go to anywhere they want. Really seems like they're going to go to AEW, which I'm very looking forward to them facing any team in that promotion. That's it for the news. So here's my conversation with Frank Fanelli. Hey Frank, what's up?
Hey brother.
Hey brother.
Are you a good brother today?
I think so. I would go with a yes on that one.
Yeah, you're always a good brother.
Thank you. So I've been starting off all these with asking my guests how the pandemic has affected them. Obviously, with you, it's been very insane, but you have turned it into a very big positive. So I'll let you talk about that.
So yeah, my first problem is that I've been touring for 14 years and I've never taken time off. I've never taken a significant time off at all. As you know, obviously I sang for The World We Knew for 9 years, from 2004 to 2013. So that was the start of that whole touring fiasco. And then after that, I just dove straight into tour managing and doing merch and lights and VIP stuff for bands and whatever. But I never take time off. I've heard it a number of times. I'm not tooting my own horn or whatever, but people tell me that they don't understand how I keep the schedule that I have on the road. And after a while, it's pretty draining and whatnot, but financially, it's pretty great.
Anytime I talk about you as someone, and especially now that you brought me into the newly formed The World We Knew, everyone's like, you guys gonna like tour stuff? And I'm like, probably not. I was like, Frank tours literally 98% of the year.
Yeah.
So he just goes from a tour to a tour to a tour. I was like, that dude's never home.
Yeah. So this has been emotionally draining for me because I'm not used to being home.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what to do with myself. So in the midst of being a miserable prick about it, for the first 2 days, finding out that the next 4 months of my touring schedule, Black Belt Brides, was canceled.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not, this isn't a joke or me making a funny comment about it. Like I was in the shower. Oh yeah. You were the second one to hear about this.
Yes.
I was in the shower. It's a true story. And I just sat there and I go, okay, well, I made those stupid Merch Daddy shirts on the last Warped Tour just to like make a little extra side hustle money because I thought it was funny. And it's just somebody called me the Merch Daddy, blah, 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 blah. I thought it was funny. Somebody took an entertaining picture that could easily go onto a t-shirt, put the picture on the t-shirt, sold 130 of them literally in a week and a half. It just bonkers. And that helped me financially. So this time around, I'm in the shower, like I said, excuse me. And I just was like, well, I could do that again. And that could probably pay my bills for a little while. And then I thought, well, everybody's going to try to sell something to fucking offset the costs of, not working right now. So that's not a good idea. And I was like, well, actually, if I take new photos and like make them funny and pertain to this whole situation that we're in, I could probably sell a bunch and maybe I can help like me and like my crew with Black Veil. Right. And pay some bills. And I was like, well, actually, that's pretty small too. Why don't we just open up a thing where anything I sell can go to as many of my touring friends as possible. And then I broke it up even further. And I was like, well, shit, if we can do that, if this really kicks off and it makes sense to everybody, if we sell enough of them, we can let anybody in that can prove to me that they lost a tour, whatever. I was like, holy shit. Okay. So I got all the soap out of my face and you know what I mean? And I legitimately got out of the shower and I opened up my door of the shower. I wasn't even like, I was still dripping and I yelled out to my roommate. I was like, yo, are you still here? Yeah. And this is before any of the lockdown like really happened.
It was like when stuff was first starting.
Yeah. She's like, what's wrong? I was like, don't come over here. I'm naked. I was like, But I was like, yo, I have a really good idea. Just stick around. Like, I want to tell me if this is crazy. So I got out of the shower. I just basically told the idea of the Nomad Fund, which is what we started. It's a fundraiser to practically offset some financial burdens that is happening right now just to touring crew members.
Right.
Because that's what I do. That's what I know. People that lost their jobs in the touring world as crew members. The bands have their fans.
Yeah.
We don't have anything for the most part, unless you're on a higher tier where like people have you on retainer or you'll work for a specific big like touring company that puts you out. Yeah, like anything like that. They're mostly, I'm not going to say they're all taken care of. That's not true. But they have at least something. I work for plenty of bigger acts, but I'm still an independent contractor. I don't work for anybody. So I don't have any health insurance. I don't have a retirement plan or whatever. So I work as much as I possibly can to have a retirement fund when I'm older. Anyway, That's besides the point. We don't have anybody. So I said, so Nomad fundraiser, like, this is what I can do. We're going to sell the Merch Daddy shirts. We'll split it evenly between anybody who could tell me or who can prove that they had a tour loss. And I'll go into detail and make sure they fill out forms so we can figure out who's bullshit and who's not. And we'll split it evenly and da-da-da-da. This is just over a month ago. Not just under a month ago. I'm looking at the date right now. This is just under a month ago. I had this idea. She was my roommate was like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Maybe kind of limit it because it's going to get tough." And I was like, "Yeah, but I have all the time in the world, especially if this goes on for a while. Like, we could figure it out." And then I hit up you. You were the second person I called because I knew that if we took the picture, you could at least. I was like, Sean's a graphic designer. He could do something pretty funny, probably. I want to put tour dates on the shirt. Whatever. Sean can get involved. So I called you second. You're the second person on the planet to know about this.
Yeah.
You told me that wasn't a bad idea and that I wasn't crazy because I just thought that it was like a good idea, right? Like so quick. I was like, oh, we can blow it up. I just thought I could have been like, it was a dumb idea because I just thought it was too good or whatever. And you said it was good. And I was like, all right, cool. So literally within an hour of me having this conversation with my roommate and you, went to my friend Tatiana's house, who's now my partner for the Nomad. She's the one who runs all the emails and runs the forms and everything. Went over to her house, did the photo shoot. And within an hour and a half of me having this idea, it was probably already sent to you.
Yeah.
And like, it was almost ready to go.
Yeah.
So then I filmed the video basically explaining what we were doing. And within 48 hours of me having this idea, we already raised, I think it was like $12,000 or $13,000 in the very first day, which is absolutely mind blowing. And I know I skipped a few things. I know I skipped a few things, but it's just, I started so early and we started so early that nobody was doing anything about it yet. It was Music Cares, which is obvious because Music Cares has been around for a long time, but they don't, you know what? Do not quote me on this. I don't know if they have a direct tie with specific touring members. It could just be big corporation stuff and they trickle it down to anybody who like kind of asks them for help. I don't know if they do the due diligence. I just truly don't know how it works because I've never gotten help with Music Cares, but they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And they do help people in need that are musicians and myself, like people like myself, crew members.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how exactly they do it. Anyway, so we're acting as somebody who's direct. It's like direct to consumer kind of thing.
Right.
The people that need it, the people that I know, and the people that can vouch for others, I can connect with these people right away through our email and through our website at forthenomads.org. So that's how we came in. That's the easiest way for us to explain it. It's like we're direct to these people.
Yeah.
We're not getting slammed by millions of people. We have several hundred emails in our email right now, but this is a straight to the people who need it kind of situation.
Yeah, which is great.
And nobody was doing it yet. So we started right away, and thankfully others are following. Bands are now putting out shirts to help their crew members, and I think Live Nation is going to start something or are starting something where they're going to help a bunch of people. And I don't know how, but they're obviously $1 billion corporation. I just don't know how that one's going to work either. So we're doing our part, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's a very, very good thing you put together for sure.
To date, we're just under $30,000 in donations.
Yeah, that's amazing.
since you guys are printing the shirts, I think it was somewhere like 300 shirts so far, somewhere around there. And they're still coming. We'll probably give you another round of emails with with more shirts to print very soon.
That's awesome. I love
it. So that's forthenomads.org. That's what I'm doing to help the touring community that I very much reside in.
Yes. It's awesome. And I usually talk about how I met the person, but we both don't remember when we met in person. But I know we've been friends for a number of years now.
Yeah,
we've been in the same
idea.
places a number of times without maybe knowing each other, or knowing each other but not talking to each other.
Yeah,
but,
as far as I know, and you said we didn't meet there, but when I was singing in the World We Knew, we did that Hape Reed Stillborn Fest tour in Syracuse in 2009.
It was somewhere around there.
Yeah, maybe 2009, something like that, because it was the one and only time we ever played Lost Horizon in Syracuse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I always wanted to play there, and I don't remember why. There was some bands that I loved would always play there or whatever, and I just saw
it was a hot spot. For sure.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, cool, I'm playing this place. And I remember I did – that was the first time we toured with Hape Reed in a while. It wasn't our first time with Hape Reed, but that was our first time touring with Hape Reed in a while, and they were doing all of Under the Knife in full.
Yep.
It was either Under the Knife or Satisfaction in full. Maybe both, honestly. I don't remember.
I think it was Under the Knife because they didn't do Satisfaction until years after.
Yeah. Well, anyway – they were doing that.
Almost all of Under the Knife is on Satisfaction, so
that's true. Also, yeah. But they were doing that in full, and when they played Smash Your Enemies, I remember I did a front flip off the stage, and it parted the seas. And I'm at that time. I mean, this is years ago too. At that time, I was probably like 120, 130.
Yeah. I just remember you were super tiny and just had long ass hair too.
Yeah. It parted the seas, and I fell straight to the ground and hurt my back really bad, but I got up and played it off as if it was no big deal. And I couldn't breathe when I got back to our merch table, so I just fell behind our merch table and just was gasping for breath.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's the first time I feel like we were in the same room together, maybe. But
that was definitely the first time we were in the same room, I think.
Yeah, that's as far back as I can go is my memory.
Yeah. Well, now we're in a band together. Well, sort
kind
of a band. We played shows, so I guess we're a band.
Yeah, that's true.
We were supposed to play another show, but that's not happening.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The World We Knew is funny because I just want to have a good time again.
Yeah.
And starting a brand new band isn't a bad idea, especially in today's day and age where anything can happen. You kind of spread it everywhere really quick. It's just a matter of who listens. But I already know there is somewhat of a following. It was definitely wider when we were a band for obvious reasons, and that was 7 years ago. But there's still an avenue to find those people who knew who we were and whatnot. So it's cool to just potentially write music again and play once, twice, maybe 3 times a year at most or whatever. That's all fun. It's just for my own. It's enjoyable for me. I know it's enjoyable for you because you used to love playing. You obviously love playing shows, and you went Ghost Ship and Halud for a little bit. All that shit is just fun. So it's no way, shape, or form me trying to be like, holy shit, this is it. We're gonna get big. We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna be massive.
Yeah, it's just fun. You have your career, I have my career. The rest of the jabronis have their career.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a good time. Actually, what does John do? Oh, he teaches guitar.
Oh yeah, he does guitar lessons. He's just shredder. He's a professional shredder
and posts dumb shit on Facebook all day long. That's all.
Dude, all I see is his Instagram stories is just him drinking. And I'm just like, are you just drunk every day, dude? What the fuck, man?
Such an idiot. But anyway, that's the World We Knew story. That's it for that.
Okay, so wrestling. What got you into wrestling?
Okay, so I had to think about this for a little while. And I came down to it. I should have looked up the date, but I didn't. It's either 90. I looked up everything else, and I did notes on this whole thing. But it was either 94 or 95, and I did not see this live. Well, I'm guessing I didn't see it live. Why the hell would I know that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
94 or 95. My earliest wrestling memory is Triple H. Before he was Triple H, he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Yes, the blue blood. He had the fancy clothes on and everything, facing Henry Godwin in the Pigpen match.
Wow.
Do you know that?
I know the match, but I didn't remember the name until you said the match.
I mean, maybe that's not the name, but it's maybe hog pen match, pig
Whatever.
pen match,
Yeah.
whatever. There's there's a wrestling ring as normal, and then instead of them having like the ramp way, like with like staging and whatnot, there's no real stage. It's them. They just walk out from backstage. You know what I mean? There's a curtain. They walk out. There's no staging. There's a farm-like enclosure with tons of mud and pigs and hogs all up in there. They're all shitting all over each other. There's it's horrendous. And as a kid, I think that's hilarious because in the match, Henry Godwin whips Hunter S. Helmsley into the pen before they like actually toss him in there.
Yeah.
And he like wrecks his back. It's bleeding. And then all I think about now as an adult is that dude was bleeding and he's about to get thrown into a shit-infested pig pen with mud all over the place. But as a kid, I'm like, oh God, there's pigs. They're dirty. and Henry Godwin's probably going to throw the slop on him, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
As an adult, like I said, it's just like, oh my God, the diseases.
Like what the fuck?
Having an open wound and then also throwing himself into, But that's my earliest memory of wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, mine was, I don't remember like the exact match, but the biggest thing from my childhood when watching wrestling is that I remember the most is the Hardy Boys. That was my team. I love.
Are you talking pre like?
It was like TLC era,
like Brood era. I know
TLC era, so a little after. Like
that's when
when it was really like Edge and Christian and Dudley Boys.
Yeah, so after Brood Hook left, not left, but disbanded, and then everybody started kind of feuding in their separate tag teams. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, those were like those big tag matches were what I remember first getting into wrestling, and I just remember loving Shawn Michaels and DX and Stone Cold. And then, did you have a period where you got out of it, like I did? Because when I was probably mid-teenager years, I just stopped watching, and then I didn't watch again until 2009 or 10, I think. Because I watched the CM Punk documentary because I was like, straight edge wrestling.
You came in way late.
I mean, I missed all the fucking garbage shit, so I don't care.
Okay, so
I look back and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't watch any of that.
Yeah,
but someone said straight edge wrestler. I watched the CM Punk documentary that got me back into it.
That's a good one.
That's great.
So I cannot pinpoint when I left. When I stopped watching.
I don't either.
However, I did catch up a lot just recently when they started doing what is it called? The Ruthless Aggression thing on the WWE Network.
Yeah.
They did like a 5-part series. Maybe it's not even done. I'm not sure, but they're doing a series right now on the network that's Ruthless Aggression era themed. I didn't watch any of that for the most part until maybe. Yeah, I didn't watch any of that, and I've learned a few things just from watching that. And I watched a couple of matches, and it's really cool stuff. Some of it, not all of it, but I do remember when I started The World We Knew, I wasn't watching, right, and that's probably why. It's probably because I got pretty deep into the music scene. Like I worked for a promoter in Long Island, and that was my only like real source of income before the band even started. I was in a band in middle school that wasn't good or broke up or whatever. Started another metalcore. My first metalcore band was in like 2003. That was pretty cool, but we just really young and it wasn't that great. Yeah. And we broke up, and then I started The World We Knew in 2004. So I think that's when I was just like, okay, music, because The World We Knew is actually doing something. We're a bunch of good musicians. Cool. The first incarnation of The World We Knew, I split with a couple of those members who you met at the reunion shows who did songs with us. Split with those guys. I'm gonna say late 2005 because I was starting to be like, yo, we should tour because we're making headway. MySpace was like a big thing back then.
Yep.
And it was a really easy outlet to get more fans and more people to hear your music. Unlike Facebook, fucking Facebook, I hate it.
It's terrible.
So I was like, yo, we should really tour. And they were like, two of them were younger than me, the twins.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They were like, we're probably going to play lacrosse in college. Like we have to, and that's real. They were like really, really good athletes. That's and crazy. I was like, shit. And they're like prime suspects for being like athletes for a living. They aren't, and I don't know what happened. I never had that conversation with them. But so we didn't break up. They either quit or I've said, all right, well, fuck it. I have to figure out something else. So we got in a bunch of new members from a different band called The Rescue at the time from Long Island, who nobody really knows. The Rescue had also twins in it, Shane and Ryan. And Ryan and Shane were obsessed with wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, that all tied in. You probably
I knew it was gonna circle around eventually.
Yeah. I'm not just talking about the World We Knew.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
Yeah. Please, God, listen to our songs on Spotify. Nobody remembers who we are. Please, God. No. So they were big in, and at that time, this is not a joke. Like I left my house when I was 17, and I just started living with my friends. And that's 2006 is the first tour we ever did. So I left my house right after I did that tour because I had a bunch of problems with my mom. I got to get deep into that, but she was an addict and it sucked. So I left, and I'm straight edge, so that's not fun. So I left, and that's when the new members were in, and Ryan and Shane were like a year older than me, and I was a senior, maybe 2 years older than me. And I was a senior. So I said, yo, do you mind if I crash at your place every now and again? Yeah, absolutely. And we would stay, and I stopped going to school. I dropped out of school. So I literally did my first tour, left my house, and dropped out of school.
Right.
All within maybe a 2-month period. I would just got back from the tour. I was like, fuck that. I said, school? Are you kidding me? There's no chance. And the band was getting really good with the new members, and we were writing our at that time, our best material, obviously, but that's what got us signed to Seventh Dagger.
Right.
That's what got us a tour full time with those members and with those, that CD that we put out, Exordium.
Yeah.
That's all past the point. But they were yeah. So me hanging with them and staying at their house, they had full furnished basement, so we weren't bothering their parents or anything. We would watch wrestling for hours. And Shane was really big into Nitro. And Nitro was obviously way done.
Yeah, done.
Then.
Yeah, but then
but he was he's you gotta watch Nitro with me. I'm yeah, but Nitro wasn't as good as Raw. He's fuck you. He's Nitro was the best. And I was dude, I was what planet are you living on? And I should have introduced you guys. Well, you did obviously hang out. We played songs together in rehearsal and at the show.
Yeah.
But I should have had you talk to Shane about Nitro
Wrestling.
and love for Nitro. We'll do that at a different time because whenever you come back from Long Island again, he'll live and die on that mountain. That Nitro is better than Raw.
Some people will.
Oh, okay. But
not me, but
that's what we were watching, and we got back into it, and I was well, let's watch Raw now because it's still on. It didn't go anywhere. So I would make him watch Raw every week. He's this sucks, but we'd still watch it. And that was around the time. That was around the time CM Punk was getting real popular. I don't remember if that was the time when he was just in ECW or what. But I have a vivid memory of Vince McMahon doing the thing where he would have people call in live, and he was giving away $1 million. And if you called at the right time, he would just give people money. I don't know what it was called, but it sucked. It really sucked. But I have a memory of that being one of the first things I saw coming back into wrestling. And then CM Punk was just about to win, cash in Money in the Bank to win the title.
Wow.
I don't remember against.
Oh, the first time he won because he won the heavyweight title the first time.
Yeah. So I don't remember if it was that or what, but I do remember we were re-recording demos for Exordium songs to do for a Stillborn Records release after we put out To the Wolves with Josta. And he was we need something for a Japan release, which I'm sure never happened, but I'm almost positive it never happened. But we have the recordings for it. And I remember recording it and Shane being in the other room while I'm doing vocals, being Frank, stop recording. You got to come in here. And I walked in, and CM Punk was cashing in the title or cashing in Money in the Bank on Raw, maybe?
Man, I didn't watch that, but I knew
Yeah.
he cashed in for the heavyweight title the first time.
And then this roundabout story that's how I got back into wrestling. That was probably winded and ridiculous, but
So both of us was CM Punk. How wild was that?
It was. I was watching a bunch then, or at least keeping track. But those are like my memories of how I got back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that stuff led me into, because as soon as I got back into it, I linked up with a couple of friends who just went to shows too, who I talk to all the time anyway. And they're like, "Oh, you like WWE?" And he's like, "You know where CM Punk came from? He came from this place called Ring of Honor." And I was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah.
And they showed me Ring of Honor, and then New Japan, and then PWG, and all that shit came along with it. And I started going to the local indie fed in Syracuse, which, looking back now, I'm like, I can't believe I saw these people wrestle in like fucking VFW halls and shit. Because I saw AJ Styles wrestle with the Young Bucks in a 200 cap VFW in Syracuse.
Oh, that's tight.
And the same night, the Young Bucks teamed with Kenny Omega. Like, yeah,
cool.
It was the last show for this federation, so they did 2 shows. So they did like a show, like an hour break, and then another show.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very sick.
The coolest wrestling merchandise that I have, one of them is an old school 4 Horsemen T-shirt.
Oh wow! From back then.
I don't know. It was a gift, but it's old.
That's still cool.
It is not reprint new style at all. It's an old shirt. You can tell. It's real faded and what. Anyway, that's a really good one. Obviously, you know my Stone Cold shirt with the snake arms, but that's a reprint. That's not an original. The best one that I have that I've never worn because I'm too, and that's funny of me saying this because I'm not a big guy. I'm too big for it. Is a Ring of Honor CM Punk shirt.
Oh.
And it has X's on it and everything. It has like
it
might say straight edge. It might have 3 X's. I don't know, but it's an original CM Punk ROH like straight edge shirt. Yeah, it's really rad. I'll send you a picture of it later.
That's very sick.
I actually have to find it, but either way.
All right, so let's talk about WrestleMania.
You're gonna love the exact. I told you I took notes on this. We were texting while it was happening.
I took notes too.
The very first note that I wrote down is something you will love.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I hope everybody who potentially listens to this will love it.
Hit me with it.
You ready? I'm going to read it word for word. It's not long. This is the very first thing I wrote down. I hate Gronk so fucking much. He is the worst thing to happen to WWE TV since Eric Rowan's Spider and the Gobbledygooker. Gooper, whatever.
Yo, that Spider thing was terrible. So let me preface this. I have not watched WWE television in probably close to a year.
Let's also
I watched part of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good.
I was there. So that was amazing.
Oh. Yeah, it was pretty good. I was surprised. I was like, wow. I know a lot of people got bummed about Drew winning, and I was like,
no.
People were like, worst Rumble in history. And I was like, did you watch like the past 6 Rumbles? Like, what are you talking about?
Whoever says that is an absolute idiot.
Dude, it was all over my timeline. And I was like, I enjoyed that Rumble, and I don't like watching WWE for the most part.
If I wasn't there live in person, I would have been absolutely pleased with it.
Yeah. But yeah, Gronk is terrible.
Yeah.
Both times I saw him both nights, I was like, why? I was like, this sucks
bad. That is the first thing that I wrote down when starting WrestleMania this year. I didn't hate that human.
Yeah,
or his, you know what? I don't know him, obviously. I hate
his persona,
whatever they're trying to make him be.
Yeah.
I cannot stand it.
Yeah, and I also love how they totally ignored the whole thing they were doing with Mojo, where he was some dark whatever, and now he's just back to hype, right back to hype.
Just throw them both off the highest cliff.
Yeah, whatever, hype, dude.
Yeah.
The first thing I wrote down as the notes was because I was super looking forward to Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan, because I know lately Daniel Bryan almost has come full circle and embraced his indie style wrestling a bit, and he looks like he's straight from like Ring of Honor. Like he looks like American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. But I know a bunch of the matches have been more technical, and even when he went heel, he was doing a little bit of that stuff, which I loved. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, because that's not a aesthetically pleasing thing for casual fans. For us, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. So when I saw him versus Zayn, I was like, that could be amazing. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, that was terrible. Like, I get his character. He's like supposed to be some like whatever cowardly dude, Zayn, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was expecting like, I was hoping for like Zayn Nakamura level takeover match, and I got none of that.
Yeah. So let's. I'm going to say two things real quick. One, I do love WWE. A lot of this isn't necessarily going to be the most positive outlook on everything, but there is positive. Obviously, there is.
I have some positives.
Everything that I say is not going to be. I do love WWE. What I'm saying is what I'm saying. I love wrestling as a whole. I love AEW. I love New Japan. I love Evolve. I love it all. Anyway, so now that we're going to get into this, you skipped like 4 matches.
None of them mattered.
So what I'm saying
honest.
is I'm going to start with the first 2 things I said. One is I fucking can't stand Gronk. The next one is this is also legit. I've been to 2 WrestleManias. I know how emotional it is being there as a wrestling fan because it's something I've watched since I'm only 31. I'm not going to do the math on that, but 1995 is the first memory I have that, like I said earlier, the Pigpen match or whatever.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Going to WrestleMania is like, holy shit, I've been watching this my whole life. I love this. I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
Watching this now from home, watching this week's WrestleMania, my second note in the notes that I took were, not joking, I almost cried when the first person came out, and I think it was the Kabuki Warriors, because there's no energy, there's nobody in the room. I legitimately was like, this was one of the coolest moments of me going to WrestleMania. All I can think about now is anybody who this is like their first match at WrestleMania, like their first singles match or whatever. Like I'm pretty sure. Let me look at the list real quick. Baszler is probably our first.
Yeah, it was like Austin Theory's first.
Yeah,
might have been. It's probably
Austin
Street
Theory,
Profits first, too.
Probably. Who else? Otis.
Yeah, for sure.
Who else?
He might have been in one of the Battle Royals. Maybe.
Drew. I mean, Drew. Even if it's not his first, Drew.
Like, it's such a big moment for
headlining his second day. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's what I'm getting at. I felt very emotional for them in the fact that like this could absolutely be a great WrestleMania. It had moments that I think were pretty dull and not, matches were shot or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, as a performer, you don't want to walk in if you're in a band and play in front of 4 people.
No,
you don't want to be on national TV and on the biggest event of your year as a performer in any field. Walk into your match or your fight or your game, whatever, and literally just have no energy whatsoever. There's nothing. You're just playing to a camera. And I thought that was super, super disheartening for them. And I felt bad. I like wanted to cry. I didn't get to that level, of course, but like, I'm not just bawling in here, but I felt bad. I felt genuinely bad because it's not their fault.
No, from the start, I kind of had the same feeling. I was like, this does not feel like WrestleMania. Yeah. I was like, this barely feels like a weekly TV show.
It just looks like a TV show. Yeah, it bummed me out so bad, and it already gave me a bad outlook on what I was about to watch, which is not what I should have done. It sucks, but
and also another thing is obviously all of the wrestling promotions have been all the major ones have been doing the empty arena thing, but for some reason for WWE and especially WrestleMania, the in-ring noise was so loud. It's like they turned it up to like fucking 20. Because in AEW, it's very minimal. Like it's like so exaggerated. And I was like, that took me out of, I feel like that made me more negative on everything than anything. Because I was like, why? I was like, it was so distracting.
You hear are bumps and Michael Cole screaming.
Yeah, Sam said this WrestleMania is like if wrestling had golf announcers.
Oh my God!
And I was like, that's really accurate.
Yeah. And once again, this is not the performer's fault. Like I feel terrible. It should be their moment, and it should be us being excited for them. Whether you hate the character or you don't hate the character, it's like it's still WrestleMania. It's a bummer. It's a real bummer. So anyway, that's the start of that. You're right. Kabuki Warriors and Bliss Cross don't matter. Corbin and Elias don't matter.
No, that was
Becky and Baszler was okay. That was an all right match.
It was okay. I was just, I guess I get it. but they built Baszler to be such a monster.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to build parallels because she kind
I
of
love
pinned
that
her.
they're calling her the cage fighter now.
I love how I think Michael Cole said something. It was in the pre-show, and they said Becky has never fought anyone from that side of the world. I was like, oh yeah, she didn't just main event WrestleMania last year with arguably the most popular MMA fighter of all time.
Yeah, no,
Baszler's what she was
right.
like 1-4 in UFC or something.
Obviously she is a credible threat. You can't get a contract in a professional fighting organization and not be somewhat legit, unless unfortunately you're Phillip Brooks. but
I don't want to talk about that. That was so depressing.
And I'm a big MMA fan, so I felt very, very upset for him. He could kick both of our asses probably at the same time, but that's besides the point. It was very strange. I thought Becky coming in on Mack truck was kind of tight.
Yeah, it cool. Also kind of took me out of it too because it was the way it was filmed, the way they edited it was kind of weird because it was like she came in the truck, then Baszler came out, then she came out. It was kind of weird flow wise, but I agree with that. Kind of nitpicking, I guess.
Yeah,
the match was okay. I don't know. A lot of these matches felt like they didn't get out of the gate for me, especially for a WrestleMania. This is supposed to be the biggest night. We'll talk about this more when we get to AEW and NXT, where I think one promotion kind of goes two balls to the wall and the other one does it to build to something, which for me, wrestling, I watch wrestling. I mean, I love watching crazy matches, but I like watching even more crazy matches when there's a storyline involved. And NXT used to be the place for that. They used to have the best storylines and the craziest matches. I always loved watching takeovers. For a while, I was like, none of these have been bad. They've all been incredible.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get after
there.
this. But
I guess what I was going to say with that is that they're in typical WWE fashion. They're going to roll out that match another probably 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
So they have to. So they
nail it down in your face.
One of my notes that I wrote down was it was a very quick match, but also there was no fight whatsoever in Baszler when she it was a roll up for the win, or not a roll up, but it was like a.
Yeah, it was a pin. It was a weird pin.
It was a rollover pin. And if you look back at it, I rewinded it to double check I was correct on this. Baszler wasn't kicking her feet at all. She just laid flat on the mat. Yeah. And took the weird. It wasn't a pin per se, but it was it did the 1, 2, 3. It was just very strange. They're protecting her because they want her to still be the monster, whatever. But they're going to roll out that match another 2 times.
Why didn't she attack Becky after?
Yeah, she just sat in the corner with her hands on her head.
Man, I lost. Man.
Yeah, I don't know. It was strange. That's whatever. Go on. Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn was next, which, just like you said earlier, you thought would be an absolute, what do they call that? Not a 5-star match.
Barn burner?
Meltzer doesn't matter. Yeah, barn burner for sure.
Maybe that's my fault for being naive to think that it would be like something like that. Or me wanting it. I don't know.
Yeah, so I told you I went to 2 WrestleManias. This match also reminds me of how AJ and Shinsuke should have been great at WrestleMania like 2 years ago when I went. And my friends and I were there live, and we sat there and we were like, what the hell, man? Like this.
They did it in New Japan.
So much more. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The New Japan match is incredible.
It's great.
But I was like, this could be so much. This could be the any match that Shawn Michaels was on. It could absolutely take it to and what am I saying? Be the match of the night.
Yeah, like a show stealer. I thought I was like that could be a sleeper match. That could be like one of the best matches that we see all night. And then
so Daniel and Zayn they didn't give him the time that they should have. They should have had. But the notes that I took there were I love how Zayn looks like a Jinder Saddam Hussein. He looks crazy.
He does his hair all weird and curly and grown out.
Yeah. And the I call them the hardcore hat, but they're an army hat.
Hardcore hat.
I love that. My favorite thing of the whole match, which it had nothing to do with the match at all. I'm sure nobody picked up on it whatsoever. It made me hysterically laugh. Zayn running out of the ring and running around the ring for the first 5 minutes of the match. Yeah. The whole time, just playing heel and trying to get away from Daniel. Cesaro, after a little while of Zayn running away, Cesaro yelling at Zayn about Brian going, he's already getting tired. Nobody threw a punch yet. It's my favorite. It was so, oh my God, it was so
I missed that.
funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, he's yelling at Zayn going, yeah, don't worry. He's getting tired already. Nobody threw a punch. It didn't even start yet. The match, they didn't lay a hand on each other.
That's
Incredible.
So great.
So funny. Anyway. And what else?
The tag match is next, right? Or you still have more on this match?
No. That was it for that.
So the tag match,
that tells you right there the match wasn't anything special,
Yeah.
which it could have been.
The tag match I liked. It is weird that they did a tag match with no tag teams, but I guess The Miz was sick, so I guess it makes sense, but it's still weird. They could have just taken it out and it would have been fine. But it was very good. They killed each other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That Starship Pain spot with the ladder on the second rope was gnarly.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you put they're all three of those guys are vets. They've been in WWE forever. So I mean, put them in a ladder match. I mean, and very talented in their own right, but they all have the style that fits perfectly with ladder matches as well.
For sure. Yeah, I just thought the ending was kind of weird, but
oh yeah, I mean, I've never fallen several feet off of a ladder onto a ladder. So keeping some stuff in your hand as you take that bump, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, that
I would assume that's pretty tough because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So that's just, I mean, it was lame. But he should, you know what he should have did? He should have fell off the ladder quicker to go retrieve the belts.
Yeah, like he did a weird dash towards it or something.
He took the bump, and it sucks. And they fell out of his hands immediately. If he just rolled straight off after the bump and grabbed one of the belts, it would have been more – it wouldn't have been such a weird ending.
Yeah, it was kind of abrupt almost in a way.
But, I mean, Kofi's high spots are insane.
Yeah, Kofi's amazing.
What else? One thing. Do you remember when Morrison, he, like, pushed the ladder into the Uso, who is it, Jimmy Uso, while Jimmy Uso was up against the ropes, and it missed him entirely because obviously there's a middle of the ladder, but he catches it. It doesn't hit him, right? And then Morrison poked him in the eye. Do you remember that?
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, that was
such
good.
A great spot. So good, so heel. You know what I mean? That's such a good spot. There's not much else in there other than, I mean, they're just all psychopaths. They did a great job.
Yeah, like imagine taking those bumps with no crowd.
Yeah. Oh my
Insane.
God. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very, very good. Next is Owens and Rollins.
At first, I was so pissed because when he did the DQ thing, I thought it was just going to end, and I was like, "Did they just do a DQ finish at WrestleMania?" I was like, "What the fuck?" But then after the craziness, the craziness after made up for it for sure. That fucking bump he did off the sign was fucking insane.
Yeah, I also thought that the chair shots from Rollins to Kevin were really, really brutal. Obviously, there's no headshots, but he like really laid into those suckers, and that's after the DQ came back. Obviously, what am I saying? That's after the DQ thing. I just thought that he was really, really laying into them, which made it just that much more effective.
Yeah, it was solid. That was one of the matches where I was like, okay, that was pretty good. It wasn't the most incredible match ever, but
that's another. Yeah, that's another.
It was good. That's
another match that could have easily been a show stealer, just because of who they are and how long they've been doing it, and them not being WWE homegrown talent as well.
Yeah, it sucks because it seems like every big WrestleMania match for Kevin Owens has been not what everyone thought it was going to be.
That's
him and Jericho. Everyone thought that was going to be the sickest match because the build to that was amazing. The Festival of Friendship was probably one of my favorite WWE segments on TV ever. It's so good.
It might be up in my top 5 of just best feuds.
Yeah, it was great.
And then, unfortunately, the payoff was kind of shot. But that whole thing, the whole thing wasn't even a feud. It was them together for like a year.
Yeah, I wonder.
That whole thing was incredible.
I wonder if it was because the match wasn't as good, because I remember they did like the 365 Kevin Owens, and it was that year when he won the Universal title, and then he lost it to Goldberg. But the original plan was supposed to be Jericho and him versus for the title at WrestleMania. That was supposed to be the culmination, but then Goldberg came in, and they're we're giving it to Goldberg, which sucks.
God, I hate Goldberg.
Same, he's not good. Remember when he won the title a month ago with a suplex?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
An actual vertical suplex. That's it.
Yeah. And
Nice.
Speaking of Goldberg, that's the next match here.
Great.
I haven't looked at these notes since I took them. I only made 2 notes on this one. My first one is Braun truly pisses me off by not blending his sideburns into his beard because he shaves his head completely down on the sides. It makes me so angry. And with a man with a pretty damn good beard, when I shave my head, I will blend those suckers in my beard, and he doesn't do that. Take a good look at it now. Anybody who's listening to this, Google a picture of him holding the title right now. It drives me crazy.
That's funny.
Oh, man. And then I hate that Strowman is a placeholder for Reigns. I don't like it.
Yeah, he's just going to lose to Reigns.
I mean, maybe they'll make it a good build, but I don't think they've built any good feud with Braun at all.
No, they ruined when he was so hot, and they turned him heel for no reason. I just ruined it, and they tried to bring it back, and it didn't work. And it also doesn't make sense because he lost to Brock 2 or 3 times for the title, and now he just beat Goldberg like it's nothing.
Yeah, he's just a placeholder, and I feel bad for him because once again, it's not his fault.
No. I mean, it was cool to see him get the title, but it was just like, oh, cool. That match happened, I guess.
Yeah, I would have accepted. And you know me, I'm not a Reigns fan. He's very good for what he is, and he's the new Cena. You know what I mean? For lack of a better term. But I would have accepted Reigns beating Goldberg because I'll take anybody over Goldberg, honestly. And I know that if Reigns was the guy right now, which he will be soon, they're gonna feed a few people to him that with whatever feuds for a few months, and then when it gets around to what's another big pay-per-view, maybe like a Hell in a Cell or maybe next year's WrestleMania again, he'll probably still be champ, and then the big payoff with whatever good feud that's going on, maybe he'll be champ at WrestleMania next year and he'll win again or whatever. But I get it. With Reigns being the guy, I get it.
Yeah.
Strowman's just a placeholder, and that's why that match doesn't matter to me at all.
That's fair.
Everybody saw that one coming. I mean,
I was kind of surprised Braun won, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's not surprising. I mean, I just don't care. Sure. Everyone having, it sucks because so many people I have so many friends who, not so many, but I have a few friends who refuse to get into AEW because they're like, oh, they're just using WWE talent. And I'm like, it's not the same. I was like, it's not. I was like, the people who are getting AEW are not the people that were in WWE. I was like, it's completely different. And they're like, yeah, all their champs have been WWE guys. And I was like, okay. And I was like, and they've done great with it. And they built a great product with it. So, and I was like, and they're there every week, unlike Brock or Goldberg or whoever. WWE always falls to these part-time people. That's what takes so many people out of it. Because you build all these stars and then you just let them fall to the wayside for some reason. Everything that's been good in the past, I don't know, like 8 years has happened almost on accident. Daniel Bryan, accident. Because he just got so over.
I was at that WrestleMania also.
Yeah, Kofi, accident. Just because he got so over, and they were like, "We need to do this," or people are just going to tune out. So they give us those few moments, but it's not their idea. It happens organically. You know what I mean?
You speak on part timers. We'll talk about this later when we get to the end of night 2. But let's. I want you to tell me about which is the next match. I want you to tell me about what you didn't like about the Boneyard match, because I know you texted me and you said you had a couple problems with it. I'm curious about what those are, because I didn't have too much of a problem with anything.
Well, first, my friend Matt called it Boneyard Bonanza, which I like a lot better. It fits with the tone of the match as well.
I would wear a Boneyard Bonanza shirt for sure.
Same. I definitely would. Really, the only things that bothered me, and especially after seeing night 2 and the Firefly Funhouse match, I just felt like it could have went further. And I wish they did a better lead up to it, because obviously this would not have happened if Matt Hardy did not do the Final Deletion and all those matches in TNA. And the dude who produced those now works for WWE and helped produce both these. Jeremy Borash.
Oh, it's Borash. Yeah. You know what? That makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So those would not have happened without Final Deletion happening. And the thing with Final Deletion is that they built to that. It wasn't just straight out of nowhere. A lot of people just watched just that, but it was a whole progression. I liked the way it was produced. It looked awesome. And I definitely think every Taker match from now on should be like this. I completely agree with that. Because he cannot go in the ring, and that's obvious. And it made AJ look really good, I think, and it made Taker look intimidating. Oh, first thing I hated, motherfucker comes on a motorcycle to Metallica and not Kid Rock or Limp Bizkit, which is the biggest fucking horseshit thing ever. And that's my big. He started off pissing me off there. I was like, Metallica. I was like, where the fuck's Limp Bizkit? Where's Kid Rock?
That's my first note, also for this match.
I know a lot of people agree with me. I'm just like, give me what I want. Dave Bautista gif right now. Give me what I want.
Yeah,
that was the first thing.
That's a great segment too. The Bautista one. Apparently, he forgot his lines, and that's why you kept on saying that.
Oh, I loved it. It's like one of the best gifs ever. I mean, I figured because he just kept yelling, give me what I want, with spit just flying.
Apparently, he forgot his lines to whoever wrote whatever for him. So he just kept on screaming that because he knew that would at least work.
It did. It was great. But really the only other things that bothered me other than that, because it was fun. Like looking back at it, I was like, okay, that was fun. It was wacky. It was cool. It was a cool take on Undertaker for sure. But they said Barry about 10,000 times.
I didn't notice that.
I guess from reports, they said that a lot of the dialogue was improvised.
Yes, I did read that.
But AJ said, I'm going to bury you. I'm going to bury you. I'm going to bury you. And then when Undertaker came back, he's like, oh, you're going to bury me? You're going to bury me? And then when he finally had AJ down, AJ's like, don't bury me. And I was like, holy fuck. But that's typical WWE. They take a catchphrase and but I have to think that Vince or someone was like, say Barry so many times. It'll be so funny. The Smarks will love it or some dumb shit. Yeah. To me, that sounds like a very Vince thing. And that's probably me nitpicking. I just kept hearing Barry, and I was like, if you said it like 3 times, it would have been fine. Instead of they just kept repeating it.
Go on. Sorry.
And then the other thing that bothered me, I guess, is when Barn Warehouse thing lit up and the people in the hoods came out and they fought The Undertaker.
Yes.
Someone on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but came up with a great idea, and which would have made me love that spot. If the people in hoods took off the hoods and it was all past Undertaker rivals.
Ooh.
Like AJ was like, yo, I need help with The Undertaker.
They could have edited that in a way where, like, like when who is it that, and you'll know because you're more of a nerd than I am. Is it Scarecrow that blows something into Batman's face and he like sees a bunch of shit?
Yeah.
Scarecrow style-esque had the drones or whatever they're called, the dudes in the hoods, throw something at or have AJ throw something at Undertaker.
Yeah. Like, and they did do that. It was like dirt. He threw dirt.
Yeah. And then when he sees, when he's trying to open his eyes and when they let out the dudes from the, what do they call it? The barn or whatever?
Yeah, it was a barn or whatever.
They could have edited it in a way where that's who Undertaker was seeing, his old rivals.
Even that it didn't have to be them, and it was just hit his head. That would have been even better. And like this is what I mean. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. It was very entertaining and well produced and filmed. But I feel like they could have brought it to another level.
Yeah,
and that's what bummed me out about it.
That's a really good idea, actually. Even if they just had them just be burly looking dudes, why would they be wearing hoods and masks? Like
I know they brought them out in the beginning, and they were, but yeah, it was very weird. But the rest of it was fine, him tombstoning him on top of a roof, throwing fucking gallows off the roof and shit.
Yeah.
I'm only just very curious of what they're going to do with AJ next, because obviously he's probably just going to be gone for a while. He can't just come back. Fucking buried him.
Yeah. I had no problem with the match in general because it wasn't a match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah.
It was a fight scene. It's a fight scene from any movie that you'd see in theaters right now. You know what I mean? Just with WWE flair on it. So I didn't dislike it. There were a couple things, like you said, that were kind of lame. I thought the dudes with the hoods were actually the lamest part of the whole thing.
When that happened, I was like, what is this?
Now that you said that with potential, I mean, it's obviously just an idea that'll never happen, but the idea of them being old rivals or editing it a certain way to where it just looked different, that could have been a cool scenario. But that's my own real downfall with that whole match or whatever you want to call it. It was just a cool fight. I did not like the very, very visible pyrotechnic shooters up on top of the barn. That pissed me off. But
he's magic, man.
That's just but you could see the fucking pyro things. Like that's that's just nitpicky on my part. As a kid, if I was like 10 and I saw that, it totally
you would have been like, "This is so sick."
Yeah, but that's just me being a production-esque guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whatever, but yeah, it was a fight. It was cool. Whatever. It'll be interesting to see what they do with AJ for sure. So that's the end of night 1. Night 2, you could start up.
Well, I have very little notes for this one. I pretty much did not like. I did not like anything until Edge versus Orton. Not that I didn't like it. It was just whatever. It happened. It wasn't. Nothing was memorable to me.
Then let's talk only about the Charlotte and Ripley match because I actually thought it was okay.
That match was pretty good.
I did have a big problem with one part of it. Go on with what you were saying.
But again, the volume of the in-ring thing and them shit-talking was just too much for me. It took me out of the loop. But wrestling-wise, it was really good. I was shocked when Charlotte won. But I guess now it came out that Rhea Ripley, her visa is up and they need to get her back to Australia or whatever.
Yeah,
So I guess that makes sense. But
my major thing, I could not believe that they did that to her.
I know.
And put it back on Charlotte. It didn't make any sense to me at all. And now it does. But I mean, oh my God.
Charlotte, I was so bummed.
Charlotte.
Okay, she is more of a Cena
champion. Yeah, but she's great.
She is good. She's a very good wrestler.
She's a great heel and also a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Technical wrestler also. But the other thing I wrote for that one is it was just the whole match was very physically demanding.
Yeah, they killed each other.
Beating the shit out of each other. So they did very well. Very, very good all around for the most part. I hated the finish, but now I get why they did it.
Yeah, I also thought they were going to go a little bit longer because I was like, obviously if she gets the figure 8, she's going to tap. There's no way. No one's ever got out of it. They're not going to have her be the one to get out of it. Whenever someone does, it's going to be a big deal. So I thought she would reverse the figure 4 or something and then play it along and then her eventually get it. But obviously did not happen.
Very, very interesting. That was the first match. That's crazy. Aleister Black versus...
Oh, that was fine.
Let's not go over it. I mean, but other than the fact that... Did they set that up at all? Did they set it up at all?
I really don't know.
I didn't watch a whole... I mean, I watched a bunch of Raws leading up to it, but only the YouTube. I don't think they...
Probably not.
They put up to it at all. I think that's just a filler because a bunch of people pulled out because of the sickness and whatnot. But so that's whatever. I thought the Lana ending was absolutely terrible, but now I think they're going to break them up because just from watching Raw this past week, Lashley said something along the lines of, "Oh, and also this is the only full Raw that I've watched the entire year." Because as a wrestling fan, you know that if you watch WrestleMania, you have to watch the WrestleMania directly. The Raw directly after WrestleMania, and also the SmackDown to see who debuts, whatever. So I watched on Monday, and I'm pretty sure they're going to break up Lana and Lashley somehow, because he said in an backstage interview with whoever, that he might need to find a new wife, is what he said.
All right.
So I thought that ending was terrible, but now they're going to try to break them up or whatever. Anyway, fuck that match. And I love
at least Aleister won.
I do love Aleister Black. Dude is absolute. He's great. He's very, very good. He DM'd me on Twitter once because I told him to come out to a show that I was on. I was on a death metal tour, and I was like, "Yo, you'd probably love this." And he DM'd me. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't, but I actually do love that. I would love to come." So he's good in my book. Everything that dude does is rad. Next one is Otis and Ziggler. I mean,
at least I'll give them that. The match was whatever. At least they took a storyline and finished it.
I do agree with that.
Is the storyline very well or like very good? Probably not. No, not for me. But they did it. That was funny.
My favorite parts of the whole thing aren't necessarily match included. Otis was wearing a shirt that I never saw before, and maybe it's because I didn't watch everything they did surrounding this whole feud, but he was wearing a shirt that said "Ham and Slam."
That makes sense with knowing the tag team.
That was very good because obviously, it's ham like the meat, and slam as in like power slams and whatnot. Yeah. But also that could be absolutely turned into a sex joke, which is just funny to me because it's supposed to be a PG company. But Vince, I'm sure he literally does not approve merch designs at all and doesn't care. he
I
hires people to do that. But all I can think of is Vince seeing that shirt that says Ham and Slam and going, that's funny.
That's good
sex.
shit.
That's good sex. Or shit, yeah. That's my take on that. And also, if they don't continue the storyline with Otis and Mandy, like dating, then it's a lost cause because they kissed at the end of the thing. They have to be an item now. So maybe they'll continue at least for the funny part, and then Ziggler will go on to feud with who I can only believe is Mustafa Ali.
As the hacker?
Yeah. As the hacker, yeah. That's my guess. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I wonder who is the hacker. I am kind of curious.
But obviously Ziggler will get down to it, and then maybe they'll debut that down, which is when? Tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe. I
don't know when you're going to put out this episode, but
Monday.
That's probably tomorrow. So. Oh, okay. Tomorrow is SmackDown. That's my guess. Ziggler would be like, I need to find out who ruined this thing for me with Mandy. Yeah, and that'll be the next feud. So that's another match. Who cares? So, yeah, you can start off Orton and Edge. Go for it.
So I was super stoked. I didn't watch the Rumble live, but I rewatched it. And I remember when Edge returned, I saw it all over Twitter. And you see him come out. His eyes are like teary and everything. Yeah. And I was like, man.
It was real.
I was like, this is cool. I always loved Edge when I was a kid. And I just thought, this is the coolest thing ever. Just because I always get super emotional whenever I see, like, obviously the ending is predetermined or whatever. But even when people win a big match or win a title, it's still emotional for them. You know what I mean? It's something they worked for. And when I see people get emotional like that, or even on shows like The Voice or whatever, or any show like that, I see people get emotional, I get emotional because I'm just like, this is so cool.
Yeah, you and I are the same in that respect, which is why I got emotional at the beginning of the first night because I just felt bad for everybody involved.
Yeah. So this was one of my most anticipated matches, and started off kind of slow, which is fine. His last man standing match, whatever. The swerve of him being the cameraman was pretty cool. It was smart.
That's my first note, actually.
That was cool.
I loved that.
Apparently, if it was going to be actually in Tampa, Alter Bridge was going to play Edge Out live, which would have been sick.
Oh, is that who does that theme song?
I guess so. Yeah.
On this day,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like that, which would have been awesome. I would have loved to see that, but
I should sing that whole song, and you should put it as the outro of this video. Sorry, of this podcast.
Maybe.
No, I'm not doing that.
Also, after now watching the Ciampa Gargano match, I kind of wish they produced it the same way because they kind of produced it. It was the same kind of thing. It was like a horse bar, whatever thing. And I wish they filmed it like that to give it more of a feel because it's fine that they went in the backstage and there was no fans and like obviously that's whatever. Mm-hmm. There's not gonna be fans there anyway. Some of the spots were cool, like where he came back and did that weird like Indiana Jones move, like jungle gym move to kick him when they were in the weights part. That was cool. And the weird conference table
did a pull up and fell into him.
Yeah, and they did the weird conference table Spider-Man fucking elbow drop, which was
cool,
which was pretty dope. But the ending was awesome too, being super emotional, and he ended with the concerto and everything. But I feel like it could have been half the length. It just dragged. It was so long.
Yes.
And there was big moments, but not really, you know? So I feel like they could have just cut or edited it so half of it was just gone, and I feel like it would have been so much better of a match.
Yeah, if they kept that to like 20 minutes, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
in my opinion, 25 tops.
Completely agree.
It was
the longest match in WrestleMania history. It was like 40 minutes.
It was apparently 40 minutes. Yeah, which is very crazy. I said that it was the epitome of the video game backstage brawl matches that they do in video games.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
real.
Like to the T. And then you said it was emotional finish, which I do agree. I wrote solid emo finish for my notes. The only other thing, I laughed really hard, really hard when they were backstage in like the area where they do the photo shoots, like after matches when somebody win a title and
like the white backdrop.
They do a quick photo shoot like when they're still sweaty and they just won, whatever. When Orton threw the chair and didn't look where he was throwing it, all I can think about is them like him hitting the really expensive lights that are set up at a photo shoot. And like, not that WWE doesn't have all the money in the fucking world, but just I thought of like a guy sitting back there, just like minding his own business, trying to stay out of the way. Of course, there was nobody back there, and like sitting in a chair, just not knowing that a chair was coming at his fucking head, like with the camera around his neck, like ready to do the next photo shoot or whatever. And it just steel chair flying over the rafters, smashing him in the face. I just thought of that whole thing scenario playing out in my head as he did it, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And I couldn't believe that when he threw the chair the second time, it didn't hit a light. I thought that would have been a good, like if he aimed for a light or something, that would have been hilarious. But
I guess I did like that reminded me, I did like when a cameraman would get knocked over and then you'd see it and you'd see it cutting with a guy running to catch up with him. That was cool. I liked that. It made it feel like a little real, which is cool. It was pretty funny, but yeah, I definitely think it could have been way shorter.
Yeah, I agree with that. Overall, it was good. It is what it is. Just another fight. That's basically what that was.
Yeah.
Not so much match. Of course, it's a match or whatever you want to call it, but not like the quality of a match. Because those two could have a great match together. They're both absolute pros. They're great at what they do. I love Orton as a heel always, no matter what. I hate him as a face.
Yeah.
And Edge is obviously just incredible. That documentary had me crying, and it was ridiculous. And you said earlier you watched the Royal Rumble the next day or whatever after it happened.
Yeah.
I was there live. I had an off day on tour, and
sick.
It just happened to be in Houston on the off day, which is crazy. I bought tickets, and it was the loudest pop I've ever heard in a wrestling event, and I've been to a lot of wrestling events. It rivaled it was a bigger pop than when I saw Daniel Bryan win it all at WrestleMania 30 in person. Also, I was there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was a big deal because you mentioned earlier that was his year. That was the one where they just, all right, fine, everybody loves you, run with it.
Yeah.
That was that year for Daniel Bryan. So this one, I mean, it's Edge. Of course, you can't put Bryan next to Edge yet on the Richter scale of wrestling. But I mean, that was a very emotional moment. I saw many people crying in the stands. Like that was a big, big, big deal. That was a big deal. So yeah, cool match, but it was just a fight. Garza and Austin Theory versus Street Profits. I mean, that's another throwaway because
it was a fun match. They did their thing, and it was one of the probably better matches. That was like a full on, not a stipulation match.
Yeah. One thing about that, like I said, it's more of a throwaway because of was it Garza and who's the other dude? Who's the guy that
Austin
got hurt?
Theory?
No. And he's great.
Almas.
Yeah. Andrade. He's great. He's
amazing.
That's why this match doesn't matter, is because he's not in it. And who's to say they wouldn't have won the titles off Street Profits if Andrade was there? Because that's what they were building to for, I'm not going to say months, but they did that
for a while.
For a while, yeah. All over Raw or SmackDown. I forget what they're on.
I think it's Raw.
I think it's Raw. But yeah, my one thing about that match that I said was, I hope, and I'm seriously praying for it, my favorite diva, or not diva, woman's competitor right now is Bianca Belair. And she comes out at the end of that match at Mania.
Yeah.
And because she got pushed to Raw.
Yep.
She is my favorite because I think she's very, very, very good, in my personal opinion.
She is really good. And she's young.
I hope she gets the love that she deserves on Raw. And that's the only thing I had to really say.
Another thing that sucks with no crowd is when she came out, that place would have lost it.
Oh yeah. I love that. I love that woman as a competitor. She's very, very good, and she's deserving of the spot that she gets. I just hope that they give it to her.
Yeah, because they kind of. I mean, she had big matches in NXT, but she never won the big one.
Yeah. I agree with that. We got the 5-way match with the girls.
Oh God, I forgot that happened because I just hated it. I thought it was very bad. It was super clunky, teasing Sasha and Bayley again for the 1,000th time.
So
cool.
Those are yeah, I don't have anything positive to say about this one. A couple quick things. I cannot stand that they changed Sasha Banks' music.
Yo, it's got Snoop Dogg on it, dude.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care that they're related. It doesn't matter to me at all. I like the old music. That's just nitpicky. That's just me being like Shinsuke's music being changed to like the weird rock band.
The dubstep rap rock thing?
Oh, my God. Like, that's the same thing. It's nitpicky for me. It's not a big thing in the grand scheme of things, but I was bummed that they changed Sasha's music. If I have to hear Michael Cole say "boss time" one more time, I'm going to throw myself off of a cliff.
It's boss time.
It's him. You know what? Boss time is slightly less annoying than him calling Reigns the big dog.
Oh yeah, big dog.
But it's getting to the same level. Like,
well, dude, they take these nicknames, and I swear every time they mention their name, like, say the nickname. Say the nickname.
Somebody's in his ear.
Scottish psychopath. Say it. Like, and all of their nicknames are terrible. None of them are good.
It's
big
boss
dog
time. Yeah, it's my yard now.
Cool, dude.
Cut my head off. And then you already touched on it, but I can't believe that they're potentially going to feud.
They should have had Sasha just win
Sasha again, yeah,
in some weird way, and then have it be a weird, friend battle.
Yeah, and you know what? They'll never, and it's my opinion. Maybe they will, but I don't think they'll ever do a better match than they did at that NXT takeover. Like 3 years ago.
The Iron Woman match?
I don't think so. I don't think it was an Iron. It was literally just the first NXT. Oh, it was when Bayley won the title for the first time.
Yeah, it was the Iron Woman match.
NXT. Was it?
Yeah, Sasha had the title and she couldn't beat her, and then they did that match and then she won.
Yeah, I just don't think they'll ever beat that. So the fact that they're still attempting to is crazy to me because they've done this feud 900 times. So that's the end of that. Take it away with the most intricate thing I've ever seen WWE do.
This is the craziest, most insane, most unbelievable storytelling WWE will probably ever do, ever. Because some of the things I missed, and then I listened to Post Wrestling. They do.
Well, actually, before you go anywhere, we're talking about the Firefly Funhouse, by the way.
Yes.
Not the Sasha and Bayley feud.
No. So Post Wrestling they do after shows for every wrestling show pretty much. And one of the guys pointed out, because some of the stuff kind of went over my head a little bit, but the whole thing with him in the chair and him reliving the WrestleMania 30 thing where he beat Bray and it was supposed to be Bray going over him. Yeah,
that's another one of those. I saw that live. I was there.
So, well, kind of depressing, but
it was. No, I very much don't like Cena in the Superman role, but go on.
And he didn't hit him with the chair then. So he was baiting him, hit me with a chair, embrace your dark side. And then he did, and then him embracing his dark side was like when Hogan turned. So that's why they went to the NWO thing. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that is insane. And then
a lot of it went over my head also.
Yeah, and there's crazy breakdowns you can find on internet. Post Wrestling did a huge breakdown of it too. That's amazing. And it's basically, and the craziest part about it is that Bruce Pritchard and Wyatt kind of laid out the template and Cena filled out the blanks. So a lot of the ideas were Cena's.
That's so wild. So
it's crazy because basically he single-handedly pointed out all the flaws of his career in one match. Well, match. It was like a mini movie, but
yeah, it's not a match, but it was sick. Go on.
Yeah, just the fact that he was down to do something so crazy and ambitious. And there was some other podcasts I listened to, and it was a guy who is big into storytelling, and he's like, I didn't get it, none of it made sense, and he's way over me, and I replied to him with a link to like the description. Mm-hmm. Just because I was like, dude, I listen to this dude almost every day. And I was like, you love storytelling. I was like, I just don't think you completely got it. Because he's like, why is he his tag team partner? And it was really a reflection on it. It was a reflection on his childhood and what got him into wrestling. He wanted him to be a wrestler and all this stuff. And I was like, you just missed the point, man. I was like, this is insane. Like, I got thought and care to it. And it made me think even more on the Boneyard match to be like, the Boneyard match could have been even more than I thought I wanted it to be initially. Yeah. You know, if they did something like this.
Yeah. I did get a bunch of the references, but then I didn't get a lot of them as well. Like when you said when he came out in NWO gear, I was like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
In a big way. Like it doesn't make sense. But then I understood when Bray was acting as Eric Bischoff, just because I knew what he was talking about, but I didn't know why it came together. That one didn't make sense to me. And then I did read, like you said, I don't know what side it was, but I did read the breakdown of what they assumed everything meant. off of whatever wrestling website. And then it did tie it in a lot. So yes, I would love to see Cena as an actual heel, but if they break this down and continue this story in a way, other than just, oh yeah, that match was crazy, now what?
Right.
Cena comes back with a different T-shirt that's a different color, and you know what I mean, off to the races on whatever next stupid feud he's in. If they actually break it down, and this is what changes him to not necessarily be heel, but to not be the same Cena that we know after 15 years or whatever it is, then I'm all in.
Same.
I will be the first one in line to get a Cena shirt that has nothing to do with his normal character. You know what I mean? Like, this was absolutely, and after reading all the things that I read, because I thought it was entertaining to begin with, just not being a match, but just being a very strange outlook on the careers of both of these two humans, you know? I was in, but after reading everything, I think it's easily the most intricate thing WWE has done in the past 15 to 20 years.
Easily.
As far as storytelling goes.
Yeah.
But however, none of it, and when I say none of it, I mean none of this matters to me at all unless they capitalize on it.
Yeah, which is the tough part. That is the very tough part.
They just sweep it under the rug and Bray comes out because Cena is going to go finish a movie or whatever it is. I don't know. That's not real. I'm just saying I'm assuming that Cena won't be back for a little while. That's what I'm saying. If on Friday The Fiend comes out or Bray Wyatt comes out and just starts nipping at the butt of somebody else and they start a new feud with somebody else, all of this is horseshit.
I don't agree on that point. Only if they don't bring Cena back eventually in some different part.
You know what? I guess they could bring him back in 3-6 months, and then then that's when they start it. I take it back. I would agree with that.
Because it would be cool if they led Bray down the path to get the title again. That obviously has problems because obviously it's probably set for Reigns to have it whenever. But it would almost be better for even the Fiend to get it back and then Reigns try to get it from the Fiend and then Reigns lose. The problem with Reigns is that Reigns is a good wrestler and he can be a good character if it's not the super forced over the top thing that it usually is. But if you make him lose and have people start to relate with him, then people will get behind him.
Yeah.
You know, and put him in meaningful feuds, not 6 months feuds with Baron Corbin that no one cares about. Like, give him
the dog food feud.
Yeah, like what the fuck was that? You know, give him some meaningful feuds and make him the underdog for once and not the fucking big dog. I just came up with that. You're welcome. Great.
I appreciate that.
You know, if they did,
you just Damien Sandow'd me with the "you're welcome."
Yeah, you're welcome. So if they do something like that, that would be cool. But yeah, it is. It depends on what they do, for sure.
I don't agree with putting any kind of belt on Bray Wyatt or Fiend at all.
They shouldn't have done it in the beginning.
Well,
if they did it way later on, but
I don't care when it is, where it is, or anything. I don't even care what storyline they come up with. It doesn't make sense to me at all for him having a title. And the reason I say that is because why in the absolute blue hell would the Fiend give any amount of shit about a title?
It's fair.
Not at all. I would maybe relate to it if the Fiend won a title in a feud that Bray Wyatt, quote unquote, started, and then didn't give a shit about said title after he won it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And not make his own weird title belt.
Yes.
That's his face.
Oh my God, it's the worst. But if I'll just give you an example. I'll lay it out like he feuds with somebody who the Fiend wins the title, correct? Yeah. But he just looks down at it, or as the ref is giving it to him, and he just tosses it down or whatever. He doesn't care, and he escapes, and the title is also gone. But he shows you that he doesn't care about the title, you know. But the lights come on, the title's gone with him. He's gone. Da 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 da. And then Bray is the one pushing. We're the winners. I'm the winner. Whatever, you know. In the next feud that are doing, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But
that would be cool.
The Fiend as a whole giving a shit about a title is the worst storytelling you can put together, in my opinion.
True. It doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I hated when he was the champion, because why would he care? It doesn't make any sense. That's just my thing on that. However, to get back to what we were talking about, the Funhouse match or whatever you want to call it is incredible after you really look at what they did with it and get the entire story as a whole. But it all depends on what they're going to do with it next, in my opinion.
Easily my highlight of WrestleMania.
Yes.
Easily.
Cool. And Lesnar and Drew. I mean that went how you expect it to go.
Yeah, I think it was super sick. He kicked out at F5 at 1. I popped for that hard. I was like, oh, fuck, at 1?
Yeah, that was tight.
That was sick.
And they huge dude.
He's ginormous, man. So
I do legs are bigger than my waist.
Yeah, I do like that they made him look strong, and Brock gave him a little bit. I wish it was a little bit more than finishers and one German suplex, but because they gave you that little bit of anxiousness you feel with any Brock Lesnar match, where you're like, is they actually going to give them any offense, or is it just going to be a squash? Or like, oh, I want this guy to win. Is he really going to win? I don't know, but they had him won, which is cool. I'm glad Drew won, but I'm also bummed that he won in front of 0 people.
That's my note on it. Yep. That I feel so bad because that dude was in 3MB.
Yeah.
He was a jabroni for so long. Yeah. And it drives me crazy. And it's not bad story. It has nothing to do with that. I feel so bad that his title win and his upcoming, I don't know what defenses or whatever he's going to do with the title for the foreseeable future is going to be in front of nobody.
Yes.
Where it's like I'm sure he got plenty of love online and everybody tweeted at him and this, that, the other thing. And I'm sure he saw the love, but
it's different.
But if they do it again, where let's say he loses his first title defense and somebody else is the champion and they're going to put it on him again, just that they want him to get the satisfaction. This is all hypothetical, of course.
Yeah.
It will absolutely not be the same.
No.
You won it for the second time, and there's people here. And there's a
he main evented WrestleMania and beat Brock Lesnar for his first title.
It'll never – I feel so bad for the dude. Yeah. And you know that he probably he loved and hated every second of it.
And he's had pretty bad luck because he won the NXT title and got injured right after, pretty much. He had it for a little bit. Well, he got injured. No, he got injured in the match. He lost it. Or he was injured before, and that's why it was kind of quick. But, yeah. I mean, as soon as he got fired, that dude took the exact right approach anyone should if they leave WWE. He just went and killed it everywhere else. He was in PWG. He was the TNA champ. He went back to Evolve and was Evolve champ. Then he was Evolve tag champs.
I saw him in an Evolve cage match, actually, in Long Island. Yeah.
That's awesome. But, yeah, I mean, I'm glad he has the title because I think that dude is a fucking star.
They did a great job with him from pre-Royal Rumble into Royal Rumble and beyond. I don't like his in-ring happy guy persona. He's not happy guy, but like he caters to the crowd when the crowd is there, and he does the 1, 2, 3 before the Claymore. Like that shit, I hate that. I fucking hate that. But the guy is incredible. He's awesome. Massive. He's not only a massive dude, he has the potential to be a massive star.
Yeah, I agree.
So bad for him because and I love Lesnar, and I know the viewer like you and me probably also Do you like Lesnar?
I like it when I hate having a part-time champ. I think it's fucking stupid.
Well, besides that,
but when he puts on matches, they're cool.
I've said this for a long time. I think he's the scariest human I've ever seen.
That's
outside of wrestling, inside of wrestling, in MMA, it doesn't matter. I know he gets beaten. He's gotten beaten in MMA a bunch of times. That doesn't matter to me. I think that man is the scariest human on the planet, in my opinion. So I think I love everything he does, but I know that the average fan who hates him or loves him knows that Drew should have been in that position and was super stoked that he got what he got.
Oh, yeah.
But it bums me out so bad that was the position that unfortunately didn't have anybody to give him that instant satisfaction.
Yeah, I agree. No big fire. Oh, the one thing is that I know right after that match, because I know they aired it on Raw, is that Big Show came out and he faced the Big Show right after he beat Lesnar. What the fuck? Why?
I don't know. I just don't know.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I actually got almost really upset because I thought he was going to lose the Big Show. I thought there was a really, really, really close 2 kick out, or to 3 kick out in that match. Because I watched the whole thing, and I got I looked at the TV. I was like, no way they're going to do this. There's no way they're really going to do this. And yeah, thankfully he won. But good Lord. Talk about weird storytelling.
Yeah, very strange.
We're going to get into AEW and Raw and etc. and NXT right now. I'm sure it's on the timeline. Just starting this off, I guess, to get into it. They're kind of just fishing for things to do right now because they're not. It's almost like both companies are trying to start feuds, but don't know really where to go with it because they don't have a whole lot of people that could do all the traveling each week. And not everybody lives in Florida. Not everybody lives close to Georgia, where I'm pretty sure AEW is filming right now.
Yeah. I think they've pre-filmed until mid-May.
But that's also why storylines are, in my opinion, I mean, I can't see into the future, but I think why a lot of this is lacking right now is because they don't know how much they can get away with and what they can film without there being a payoff at a specific pay-per-view that they're not sure they can film for, and whatever, all that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of this is kind of lacking right now, but however you want to start this.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like AEW is doing a better job with storytelling because they are the best in wrestling with video packages by a mile. And
right now,
I think before, even pretty much since the beginning of the year, they did a bunch of docuseries before big pay-per-views too, and they've all been incredible. They feel like legitimate documentaries, but they're really just to hype up all the matches. And a lot of the Dynamites have been pretty video heavy, which has been awesome. And because even this week they had that promo with Moxley and Hager, and it got me excited for a Jake Hager match in 2020. Like that's pretty wild.
Didn't watch it. I didn't want to watch it,
dude. Like
you actually have a different outlook on it than I do. I didn't watch it because I figured it was just old not callbacks, but old footage from other matches that they had, and they're gonna talk about how they don't like each other. Like
it was it was like Hager training in part of it, and it was like an ESPN documentary, but it was to hype up the match for next week. And the reason why I'm excited because when Hager came back that first Dynamite, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Because they made him look like that dude is huge too. He's a big boy.
So
I was like, oh wow, they used him very well up until his first match, I think.
Yeah.
But the first match was just kind of whatever. And
I don't remember who it was. It was probably a squash, right?
No, it was him and Dustin.
Oh yeah, at the pay-per-view.
Yeah. It wasn't a squash, but it was just okay. It was an okay match. But the luxury they have with this match is that it's a empty arena, no holds barred championship match. Which every time we've seen Moxley in a hardcore match in AEW, it's been bonkers, insane. He does
a barn burner, if you will.
Yeah, he does psycho ass shit. So that's why I'm excited for that. And it'll be a little weird without crowd, but I feel like they can make it work. Hopefully.
Well, that's another thing, and I think you and I talked about it. They're getting all this extra WWE footage just because they had a crazy – well, I guess they already filmed the stuff that they're filming, but they can edit however they want now because they're watching WWE do it first. So they're getting – it's like they get to critique what WWE is doing on a big scale first, especially because they have so much more product that they hope to put out every week.
Yeah.
And then getting to make it better.
It's true.
So maybe they'll take the empty arena. What is it? What kind of matches is it? Street fight or something with Hager?
Yeah, like no holds barred or something.
Yeah. So they're going to take. In my mind, they take. This is even funnier because there were several matches like that WWE just did.
Yeah.
Take the Edge Orton match, right? That's one. Take the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa match. Take bits and pieces of the Boneyard match, just shooting it and editing and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Not taking the ideas because they can't refilm it if they've already filmed for weeks.
Yeah.
But they could take editing techniques and all the good things and just make it better because they have the time to do so.
Yeah. And that's another thing. The empty arena thing is so weird no matter what promotion it is, but they have done it the best. And the biggest bummer of all of them is the first one that happened, I was supposed to be there. It was supposed to be in Rochester, New York, and I was supposed to see fucking Brody Lee come out as the Exalted One in his hometown and see Matt Hardy debut in the same night live, which I'm still bummed about, but it was cool to watch, at least.
I texted you as that happened, and I said, I'm pretty sure I just said I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're like, I know you were supposed to be there tonight, and I was like, I know. So at one side, I was bummed that these huge debuts did not happen in front of a crowd, but seeing fucking Vanguard 1 come out, I freaked out because I didn't think Matt Hardy was going to show up after, because it was obviously, they did such a good job with the Exalted One being like, oh no, it's definitely Matt. Oh, but it could be Brody Lee.
Very good, yeah.
And almost everything pointed directly to it being Matt Hardy. You know what I mean? The only thing that made it weird is that the Young Bucks helped him in the Free the Delete videos or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever. They still could have made it work. And everyone's like, oh, it has to be Matt Hardy. So when Brody Lee came out, everyone's like, oh, okay, we knew it was one or the other, but that was cool to flip the script on us a little bit. So after that happened, I was like, yeah, Matt Hardy's not showing up. There's no way. So then when Vanguard 1 came out, I was like, oh, what?
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is, I don't know if you read it, but I read it after that Dynamite aired. They could not do that whole arena of people.
Yeah, I did read that.
I didn't know that. I don't know the laws of drones. Who cares? Like, what do I give a shit? You know what I mean? You can't just fly a drone out in in an arena or whatever. You can't fly them over humans. So that would have never happened. I don't know how he would have came in. Maybe they had another idea, and obviously they had to change it. But the Vanguard thing was perfect.
Yeah, it's so great.
Perfect. And I remember I didn't watch. I don't think I watched it live. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But oh no, the following week was when you said, "Oh, did you watch the whatever?" I didn't. I thought that was great.
But a main thing, I guess, with all of this is that when AEW first debuted, I feel like NXT shifted to being this. I call them indie light now because they're basically just an indie company. Serious, they're basically PWG on weekly TV because there's not really storylines. There is a little bit, but it's not like it used to be. They used to be the best in storylines. Everything was connected. Everything had a payoff. All of that. Yeah. As soon as AEW came out, they're like, oh, the first week we come out, the same week as AEW, we're just going to do a takeover level match. And then as soon as they did that, I feel like they couldn't recover. So now they just, on a weekly basis, they have to put out these crazy ass cards with insane matches. And then they go to takeover and they have to do the same exact thing. Where AEW, they're like, no, we're just going to do what we're going to do. We're going to start it off and build. And that's what they have been doing. Obviously there was road bumps along the way, but the big thing with them is when stuff's not working, they do something to change it, to make it work or go a different direction, which I think is, we've never seen that in wrestling, ever. You know what I mean? What company has listened to the fans like that and drastically changed storylines and the way things were going, like in the middle of when they were going, you know, and came up with smart ideas to make it work. You know, like the whole Nightmare Collective thing happening and no one was into it. And then they did those.
So bad.
And then, and they did those. I just don't think Brandy's a good heel by herself. When Cody was a heel and she was with him, it worked together. Yeah. But when they were doing those videos with her and the psychiatrist, and they were like, oh, when she got her head hit in that match when she was with Cody, and that's when stuff started getting all weird. And, you know, she was like talking herself out of the Nightmare Collective. And then obviously the MJF lashings segment happened, which is crazy that I cared about a dude getting beat with a belt for a half an hour. Because when they first listed that stipulation, I was like, that's kind of silly. Like, that's kind of whatever. And then I watched it and I was like, whoa, I'm into this. This is crazy. And especially when she came out and made it real. His wife came out to check on him and she's normal now, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, they've been doing, especially since the beginning of the year, they've done such a good job of building new, they've built new stars since the beginning. Like Darby became an overnight success out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're diving into something now that I did want to touch on.
Okay.
I'm not going to say they're not building stars, but I still think that NXT or Triple H, let's just call it Triple H, is doing the better job of building stars. Maybe not right this second, because I do agree with you on the way where NXT is kind of just like balls to the wall, or trying to be balls to the wall every weekend now, or every week now. But I still think that AEW is lacking in building the forever stars right now. Maybe it'll change, but I think right now it's lacking. I'll give you just a couple of names to that like come off the top of my head in NXT that is kind of in my favor of this. Velveteen Dream.
He is one, yeah, for sure.
All of Undisputed Era, because
the one thing I'll argue with Undisputed Era, Adam Cole was a star before he came in.
Yes, but
and he is literally the same as he was.
But if they didn't let him just do whatever the fuck he wanted, which is kind of what I'm seeing, he could have fallen flat, just like many have in the past.
But I do think he's kind of flat now because they're just at the same spot they were last year.
Well, I think that sticks up with the problem that they're facing right now of where do we go, because where is the payoff going to be, and how do we get to the payoff when we're not even sure if we can continue filming
Because even if Velveteen Dream beat him, I wouldn't care because he lost to Tommaso Ciampa for the title. So why would he beat Adam Cole, the longest reigning NXT champion, and he beats him? I'm
just saying in general. Those two guys will
Velveteen
always,
Dream is
in my eyes, I think they'll always be stars for the rest of their careers. Undisputed Era, I said, I don't think Keith Lee will be that guy. I don't think.
He's great.
However, I do think maybe if Donovan gets his act together with talking, he could be a guy that sticks around for a long, long time.
He could be.
Or Damian Priest, which I was not a fan of. What the hell is his ROH name?
Oh,
Punishment Martinez.
Yes, I was like, what was it?
I hated him in ROH.
Yeah, he's a lot better now. Yeah.
Now I'm like, holy shit! Like this guy has it. He has it. It'll take him a little while to get there because they're not releasing the change yet. You know, he didn't win a title or anything yet, but he's looking great.
Yeah,
great.
The three-way was cool.
Yeah.
It didn't. I feel like it didn't go because I know a lot of the Dijak and Keith Lee matches are amazing. It didn't quite get there, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah. Another one, Bianca. Like I said earlier, Bianca Belair. That chick is a fucking star. She is so good. I don't see it in who just lost to Charlotte. Why can't I? I'm blanking.
Rhea Ripley.
Ripley. I don't see it in Ripley yet. However,
she's young.
Yeah, but Baszler is there. She's great. She's very, very good. That's just a couple of examples in NXT right now. In AEW,
here's my counterpoint.
Go for it. Yeah.
Orange Cassidy won easily. Over. Hangman Adam Page.
He hasn't even done anything yet.
I know. That's the best part. Hangman Adam Page. They have made him a star.
Yes.
He was not like that in the Indies. He was amazing in the Indies, and him going to the Bullet Club helped, but he was never like this.
No, not at all. I agree with that.
Britt Baker, now, they have made her such a funny, interesting heel. She was terrible as a babyface, but her now is hilarious to me.
But here's why I don't care about the women's division. Because nobody else does anything.
I know. I'm hoping now.
Britt could be the best, and I don't give a shit because she has no one to go against. And when I say nobody to go against, it's like nobody else is a star. Nobody else matters.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That's the one thing that's the biggest fall of AEW so far. But I feel like now, especially with Britt, now that she's like become a standout in the division, and even that match she had with Shida was the best I've ever seen her wrestle.
Mm.
And I was super impressed with it, especially like she was bleeding and she asked for the glove from the ref to like finish her finishing move. I was like, that's genius, especially with what's going on. That was genius.
Yeah.
And Shida's getting better too, because they finally, last week they showed a video package on her, and because that was the one thing. I was like, they're amazing with video packages. Do them for all these women. There hasn't been a lot of it. So, because even Riho, it was weird. It was, you forgot about her, and then she'd have a match and it'd be amazing and you'd care, but then right after it goes away. It would be just in the match where you care, and then it goes away. And that was mostly because there was no videos on her or anything, and she was barely on TV. So that hurts. For sure. I will agree with you on the women's part, too. Darby Allin, star. Sammy Guevara, star. Or getting there. He's coming to his own, I think.
Yeah, he's great.
And I think that's mainly because of Jericho. Like, him, because obviously Jericho
hypes him up.
Yeah, obviously Jericho was always great, especially in the last stuff he did in AEW with the list and everything. But the way they've let him come in here and be so creative and come up with all these ideas and give him his own stable. He's never had his own stable, you know.
I thought it was the worst looking stable I've ever seen until they started doing it week by week, and it's great.
It's great. It's hilarious.
They all fit and it all makes sense. I hated it immediately. I love everything Jericho does. I'm serious. Jericho right now is my favorite wrestler, and probably might stay that way for a long time.
I think over everything, he will land as the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah, but I hated it right away because I thought it looked awful. I was like, who? And I knew who the guys were, but I'm like, thinking to myself, who the fuck are all these guys? Like, why does he give a shit? Why does he give a shit? Why does he give a shit at all, other than Jake Hager? I was like, it doesn't make any sense. And now I completely eat my words, and it's different. But
and
go on.
So they're taking all. And I'm very interested to see how the TNT title thing goes. I obviously think it's just going to end in Cody and Lance, probably, with Lance killing Cody, I would imagine.
His name is Lance? What's his
Lance
name?
Archer?
Archer. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of, not Lance. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that's going to be – I hope there's some swerves in the middle. I would like – because they have done that a bunch, like when they did the tag title tournament and the Young Bucks lost in the first round. No one saw that coming. I was like, whoa, okay, that's cool. And I like how there's that little bit of unpredictability, like what they did with the Exalted one, where you didn't really know where it was going. And wrestling, that's so rare, you know, because everything's on the internet. You find out everything.
Yep.
And I have loved Jake the Snake Roberts' promos for Lance Archer too.
Incredible, yeah.
I did not see that coming.
No,
I was like, Jake the Snake, what?
Yeah, when he came out on Dynamite, I was just like, excuse me?
Yeah, I was like, that came out of nowhere. That's crazy. Yeah. And they've obviously made Lance was already – it's weird because he was a star, but he's not really well known to the main – because I think most of the people who watch AEW probably don't watch New Japan. I know some of them do. But
it's the same thing with Nakamura. People knew who he was, but he wasn't like – he wasn't big in the U.S.
Yeah. So it's cool to see him do single stuff because he was in a tag team with Davey Boy, the son.
Yep.
I think his name is also Davey Boy.
I'm pretty sure it's still Davey Boy, yeah.
Yeah, and they were actually really, really good. Big motherfuckers as a tag team.
Yeah.
And when he started doing single stuff, because he had a crazy rivalry with Moxley in New Japan, and they did I think the first hardcore match in New Japan was those two.
I didn't watch that match, and I want to. I don't know why I didn't watch it.
That
was only like a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, it was a couple months ago, and they killed each other, murdered.
Yeah, I should watch that. I don't know why I didn't.
So I like how they're building up, doing these squash matches, and then it'll lead up to him and Cabana should be interesting because Cabana's a big guy too, and he can wrestle. He does comedy, but he can wrestle.
Yeah,
I think he's going to kill him. But
that'll be if Lance doesn't get into the finals, it doesn't make sense because they're clearly going for Lance and Cody.
Yeah,
it's a matter of who comes out with that one.
Yeah, but I think Lance will beat Cody because I like how Cody's so over, which is awesome.
Yeah, he doesn't need a title.
No.
But he also can't be the heavyweight title.
I know.
The heavyweight champ, rather.
Yeah, there was a good idea that someone told me forever ago in some wrestling group chat or group I'm in, saying that if he – obviously they wouldn't do it now because it doesn't make any sense. But if he went to try and get the NWA title again from Aldis or whatever, and he won it, and then Jericho wanted that title too because he
wanted to be undisputed again.
Yeah, or whatever, or maybe he never held the NWA title. And he's like, "Well, I'm the greatest of all time. I should have this title too." And they faced for like a title versus title, so it kind of loopholes it in a way.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they're going to do that in the grand scheme of things. And that's another thing where it's hard to compare the two in a way because they're still in their infancy, and NXT has been a thing ever at this point.
Yeah.
But like I said, NXT did do a great job of building stars. Even Aleister Black, Tommy End was not like Aleister Black at all. But I feel like they've kind of – that's the one thing where if Velveteen Dream ever gets moved up, I feel like he'll just get ruined. Just kind of like how Aleister Black isn't ruined. He's just kind of forgotten about. You know what I mean?
There's a few exceptions of that from NXT call-ups. Obviously, we both know. You know what? I can't even pinpoint them off the top of my head, but there are very few exceptions.
Yeah.
I think Velveteen will be a one that stays. And when I say stays, I mean like still continues to make an impact because he's that good.
I hope so, but I don't know.
When I say that good, I mean his character is off the charts.
It's amazing.
I'll give you an example. two examples, which are almost the same person, and whoever made this decision is an absolute fucking moron. It might be Mr. McMahon. Oh God, what's his stupid name? Well, one of them is No Way Jose.
Oh my God.
And then who's the other guy who did the same exact thing?
Adam Rose?
Don't be a lemon.
Fandango?
Yeah, Adam Rose. Fandango. You know what? Fandango could be one too. What I was getting at was they were fucking over as over could be in NXT for God knows what reason. I hated them both. And then the second they went up, they weren't good characters. They were just over, but they were not good characters. Velveteen is incredible in the ring, but also incredible on the mic and has a full-fledged, outspoken, charismatic gimmick. You know what I mean? That he lives that shit, and he's very good at it. That's why I think he'll survive.
It's just the main roster is just the land of people getting forgotten, and that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Like, Ricochet should be a top dude. He faced Brock Lesnar and got squished.
I don't agree with that.
What?
Yeah.
He's so good.
I love Ricochet. I saw Ricochet wrestle in Dragon Gate years ago. Like, I thought he was incredible, and he's always incredible. He still is. But dude doesn't have a character. He's not it.
Yeah.
He's not it. Try to tell me different. What does that dude tell you anytime he gets onto a mic or tells him? Does he tell you who he is, what he does, other than I do flips and I'm a wrestler and I came from Kentucky? Like,
the best version of Ricochet was him in Lucha Underground because he had a mask and he didn't talk for the first 3 seasons.
What was it, Puma or something like that?
Yeah, Puma.
Yeah, but
King Puma.
That's the difference between Ricochet being somebody who's left in the fucking grand scheme of things. Same with they just had a match on Raw this week. Him and
Cedric Alexander.
Cedric Alexander, great wrestler. Yeah. Who the fuck?
He's just the good smiley guy.
Who is he? Apollo Crews. And nobody can see me right now besides you, but who? I'm holding it like I'm making an announcement. Who the fuck is he? He's no one in the common world of I watch Raw every once in a while. He's no one. You put Velveteen Dream on the fucking on Raw, that's a dude that you're I may not like his character because he's flamboyant and this, that, the other thing, but I get it. That's the difference.
I hope so. I just don't know. Because even in NXT, he's been the guy who puts on awesome matches, but he did win the North American title. But
now it's a little, nobody knows what they're doing. They don't know if they should follow through with certain things because of coronavirus. Other than that, I think it's still, they know what they're doing. They just don't know how to get there yet because of the problem.
Also, AEW set up Elite Deletion this week.
Yeah.
Which I cannot wait to see Jericho and Matt Hardy at the Matt Hardy combo do the craziest shit in existence. Because they probably, I don't know if they were planning this before or if they saw Mania and they're like, oh, you're going to take my fucking idea? Well, we'll fucking show you what the fuck we're going to do. And we're going to put two of the most charismatic motherfuckers ever and put them in a pre-taped segment. And we'll show you what the fuck is up.
Yep. Yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
It's absolutely hilarious how little I give a shit about Matt Hardy until he starts doing this character.
Dude, okay, let me tell you this crazy story. In one of the local feds, they had Matt Hardy in, and he wrestled a match. And my friends and I were like heckling him in the ring. We were like, "We want Jeff. Where's your brother?"
Oh,
and brutal. Shit like that.
Come on, man, you're better than that.
Jeff it was funny. No, but I feel like we almost
not to him.
No, he turned around and he's like, "No, I wish he was here too." He played along with it. It was funny, but we only did it for a little bit. But we right after that is when Broken Matt happened, and we're like, we always said, "Hey, I think we took part in Broken Matt happening. We helped break it."
Yeah.
But he's another guy. He completely reinvented his character, made it super interesting. He knew he couldn't really go in the ring like he used to, so he made something different with his genius mind to hey, and he became the most over thing in wrestling. And then WWE signed him and then did nothing with it. Well, they did stuff, but it just sucked.
No, it didn't matter.
They did their own deletion, and it was terrible because they probably didn't let him do what he wanted to do, which is why I'm shocked that the Firefly Funhouse thing happened because it's so bonkers.
Well, you gotta think though. Cena had a hand in it.
Yeah. I'm sure Cena was like,
if Cena decided that in that quote unquote match that he wanted to take a shit in the middle of the ring and then make a angel out of it, they probably would have allowed him to do it.
That's fair. That is a very good point. But yeah, I can't wait to see when they do that or what they do inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think, not including what's going now, because it's kind of obviously the matches per week are a lot less than what they were on TV. It is very video package heavy. Last week they had the fully taped promo with Jericho in the hot tub and leather pants, which is amazing. This week they had the follow up with Matt Hardy.
The Release the Hounds thing.
Release the Hounds.
I cracked so hard.
Yeah, it was good.
Holy crap!
And then this week they had the Matt Hardy thing. They had the long Moxley versus Hager thing, which was post-wrestling compared it to a UFC video package. And that's what it was like. It was what it looked like. It's like, oh, you're going to see a fight.
I'll watch it because I skipped it because I thought it was bullshit.
No, it's really good. I was shocked. I love Moxley. I love everything they've done with him so far. They finally let him go off the handles he should have been.
Yeah, I hated Ambrose.
Yeah, he was so whatever.
From start to finish. I was, yeah.
Him in the beginning of the Shield was awesome.
Yeah, it comes and goes, but I fucking hated him.
Yeah,
I hated him.
When they started doing the unhinged or the lunatic fringe and all that shit, that's when I fell off. I love the Shield. I went to one Raw, and it was the Raw where he finally lost the U.S. title.
Okay. I was at the very first Shield match ever. And yeah, man, I've seen a lot of cool things live.
Yeah, seriously.
The first Shield match was in Brooklyn, the first wrestling event at Barclays Center ever.
Wow.
I got off a tour and I flew straight to New York City, and I met up with, it was a bunch of people in the world we knew at the time. We all went together, and awesome. it was the Shield versus, and people could potentially eat me alive for this. I want to say it was Daniel Bryan, Kane, because they were doing Hell No or Hell Yes, whatever. Team Hell No. Yeah, that's what it was called.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember who the third person was off the top of my head. It was
something wild. Let me look it up.
Yeah, but that was the match, and I saw that live. And it was also the same night where Cena and Ziggler were fighting.
Oh, it wasn't awesome. It was Ryback.
Oh, my God. Brutal. Fucking so brutal. You could tell with the times right now. You know what I mean? How bad that was. Anyway, it was the same night where Cena and Ziggler were fighting, and AJ Lee was with Cena for the match, but then turned on Cena,
God.
Pushed Cena off the ladder, and then Ziggler became whatever the championship was at the time. And I'll never forget this for as long as I live, because I live and die by booing Cena at a live event. I hated him. I hate him so much in a live event setting because I get to make my case. You know, I get to be a fan and scream.
Yeah.
When AJ Lee pushed him off the the ladder that night, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, "That's what you get, you fucking piece of shit." I was like, "That's what you fucking get. I hate you. I fucking hate you. That's what you deserve." And I'll never forget, I remember a kid, like a child, was looking up at me like, "What is happening?" And his mom was like trying to cover his ears. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Anyway, I went off on a tangent there, but I don't even know what we're talking about. Oh, the Shield, that's what it was.
Yeah. Moxley. Right?
Yeah, Moxley definitely got his shit together. And, well, they let him just do whatever he wants. And that's
I don't think it was going to – especially after that talk as Jericho, after he left. It wasn't getting his shit together. They just didn't let him do what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's why it's great. It's organic. So getting back to what I assume this original conversation is basically just what's the differences.
Yeah.
WWE as a whole, I genuinely feel they should just allow more freedom, because that's why AEW is shining. I'm not saying AEW is doing everything right.
No, and me either. I do
enjoy the show more today than I do anything WWE related.
Yeah.
But it's only because I know, and this is behind the scenes kind of thing, I know everybody else is enjoying themselves more over there.
Yeah.
And it's showing through what they're doing
100%.
On anything that's taped. And I think that's the difference. I don't dislike everything WWE does at all. I love a lot of the stuff. We just talked about it for like an hour or two or whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
I love a lot, but a lot of what WWE is doing. But I think right now AEW is shining strictly off of the fact that they're allowing different things to happen and in a more organic way.
Yeah, like all the storylines, they make sense. They build them in such a way where it's not like, where is this? Why is this happening? It all makes sense. Like the MJF turn was teased for months, and then they finally gave it to us. And it was once it hit, everyone knew it was coming, but they didn't know when.
That's another one we didn't put into the category of stars.
MJF. MJF. He is a star.
That dude will be the champion. It's only a matter of time.
He is so young. He's like 22 or 23.
It's unbelievable how good that guy is at being a piece of shit.
He is the best heel we've seen in wrestling easily in a decade. Easily.
Yes. Whenever I watch AEW over like at my friend's house and her roommates just happen to be in the same room, anytime he comes up on the TV, I go, yo, watch this. And then they'll watch it and be like, wow, he's an asshole. I said, yep.
Exactly.
I said, yep.
I think the only one who came close was when Ciampa first turned and he had no music and he came out to straight booze.
Oh, that was great.
And now he has the worst entrance music of all time. It's terrible. I mean, a lot of people have pretty terrible entrance musics, whether it be AEW or NXT. AEW does have a lot of terrible entrance music.
Yeah, they need to figure that out.
It's like Darby's is cool, Moxley's is cool, Jericho's is obviously cool, Cody's is cool.
What my favorite one in AEW is that I'm sure maybe you just wouldn't think of at all? Best Friends.
That one is cool. That one is fun.
I love it. I don't know why. I
fun.
Love it. It's so catchy.
And they also changed Justin Rhodes so it doesn't sound like Brain Stew anymore, and it sounds like a better song.
Dude, yeah.
Because I remember the first time I heard it, I'm like, this is just a really bad ripoff of Green Day. And now they've changed it. They still have the riff, but they have everything in between, so it sounds like an actual song. And I was like, this is cool now. Yeah. This is fine. But I just remember being like, why did they rip off Green Day? Like, have they never heard that song? Like, what the fuck?
That's great.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like I said, there'll be stuff in NXT. I kind of like the Finn Balor stuff. Now it's kind of wasted. Not wasted, but it's hard because he's going after Walter, but there's no way that match is going to happen anytime soon.
Sorry, man. I don't give a fuck about Finn Balor.
I like that they finally gave me the Finn Balor I wanted from the start, pretty much. Now.
Yeah. There's something about him. I haven't given a shit about him since New Japan.
I mean, that's fair. He hasn't been.
That's a long time worth of wrestling, and it hasn't done anything for me.
Yeah, a big problem
that's just me. People tell me I'm fucking crazy for that, but I don't think I am.
No, I mean a big problem with he is they kind of John Cena him, where he has like the 4 moves of doom. They did it with Daniel Bryan for a while too when he was super popular, where he only just did the big 4 moves and that was it. And honestly, this is a super hot take. People will probably get pissed, but when Kenny Omega, when AEW first started, Kenny Omega was very 4 moves of doom. It would be V-trigger, the one suplex he does, and One Wing Angel, and that was like.
You know what? I don't necessarily disagree with that.
But he has had the thing with him is that his last match last week with Trent was really good.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was a great match.
The hardcore match with Moxley was unreal and super not normal Kenny Omega match at all.
Yep.
And the tag match, him and Hangman versus the Bucks, is probably the coolest tag match I've seen in years. That shit was unreal. But a lot of his other single matches have been kind of whatever, which sucks because I know that dude can crank out the best matches with anything.
I miss him. He's another guy. He's too happy for me. I loved him as the cleaner, where he was kind of weird and quirky and Bullet Club guy. But
that's why I'm hoping stuff is starting to get to, because it seems like they were almost going to try and turn Adam Page heel, but he's doing heel stuff but still getting cheered. Like he spit in one of the Young Bucks' face and he got cheered, and the Bucks were getting booed. So I'm hoping they kind of turn Bucks to be the more of the asshole people, and then eventually when Omega and Hangman break up, when Hangman turns on Omega's going to be the heel in that, not Hangman Page. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, actually, I didn't think about that.
And they've done such an amazing job with teasing that, especially after the match when they won and he like held the ropes to do the buckshot. And everyone's like, and he's like, no, come here, man. Come here. I was like, everything they've done with him has been unbelievable.
Yeah,
But I
Page
think
is
they-
another one. On top of MJF, Page will absolutely be the champ sooner or later.
Yeah, and everyone's like, they should have put Page on it first. I was like, no, he was not ready. Putting on Jericho was the move for sure.
Yeah, because they have to. That was the beginning of the company. Like,
Yeah.
they have to build. I'm not gonna say they have to build it up with a name people know,
But
like
you should.
casual
It's
fans,
smart.
but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And why not start with one of the best to ever do it?
Yeah, everyone knows who Chris Jericho is, even if you're not a wrestling fan.
Who can still go.
Yeah, and everything he says becomes a fucking t-shirt. Everything. It's insane.
If that's the end of this general conversation of wrestling, at least, he is unbelievable. I don't give a shit how old he is or how young he is. Anytime in his career, that dude has been so unbelievably consistent.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything. So at the end, I like to do what I like to call the Metalcore Minute. All right? You got?
Yeah, I took notes on this earlier, but it's way different, so I might have to just bash them out. It's going to be all going to be music.
That's fine. It can be whatever you want. It's up to you. Are you ready?
Yeah, oh god. All right, sure.
Okay, go.
So here's bands that I'm really into right now because I'm big into music. Music is all I do with my life nowadays, basically. I love Heavens Die. They're a band from, like, I don't know. What doesn't matter. Heavens Die, Renounced, Chamber, and Dying Wish are really cool in metalcore right now. There's probably plenty of others, but who fucking cares because they all sound the same. Really underappreciated bands: As Hope Dies, Martyr AD, Animosity, Purified in Blood. The It Dies Today EP is still better than Cat of Choir. Don't care. Shut up. Seven Angels, Seven Plagues, Prayer for Cleansing, Glass Casket. Great. Underappreciated. Bands nobody ever heard of that I think you should listen to: Last Perfection from Long Island. You saw them live. They're probably my favorite Long Island band of all time.
Yep.
The Ambition of Creation, which you'll never find. I've tried it. They're great. In on the Kill, Antarabe. Those four bands from Long Island, nobody ever really, really heard of. They're incredible. And then bands that got me into hardcore and metal: Hatebreed, Glassjaw, Most Precious Blood, Shai Hulud, and Poison the Well. If you want to start somewhere, that's where you fucking start. How much time do I got left?
You went over by 5 seconds.
Ah!
I let you go. I don't like to be strict on it. It's fine. Sounds good.
Yeah, I made a list, and I didn't even say all the bands that I thought were unappreciated, but music is all I care about. As far as I only gave a shit about, I only ever wanted to play baseball in my life or play in a band or tour, and I did one of those things. So since I don't play baseball and I still love baseball, there's no reason to talk about it, but all I ever wanted to do was tour, and I've been doing it for 14 years. Whether I'm playing or not, it doesn't matter. I'm still doing what I wanted to do. So all those bands are something that I think people should pay attention to if they're still listening to this for anything other than just wrestling.
This is going to be a long one. It's fine, though.
I mean, this is called Metalcore Nerds. You might as well talk about some fucking metalcore.
Yeah.
Did I mention any bands in there that caught your quick reaction?
Oh, all the bands you're into right now, like Renounced and Dying Wish and Heavens Die. What was the other one?
Chamber.
All amazing bands that I am very into as well. Renounced is sick. There's also, if you like Renounced and stuff like that from the UK, there's this band. Fuck, what are they called? Defont just told me to listen to them.
Oh, I won't take anything what Defont says.
Oh, shut up. Modern Error. They're sick.
I'll check it out.
They kind of sound like The Used. It's cool.
What? How could you say from Renounced you want to tell me to listen to something like The Used?
Because they're like early 2000s, and they're from Europe.
Okay. Modern Error?
Yeah. It's got like razor blades and flowers, and it's blue.
Oh, perfect. I'll listen to that.
Yeah. What screams more early 2000s than that?
Yeah. I think one of the most unappreciated bands in that list that I talked about is something I've been listening to a lot just recently, and it's only one CD that I give a shit about. Have you ever listened to Purified in Blood?
No.
Dude, I made my old guitar player send it to me the other day because I couldn't find it online. Out of the blue, it made me, remember it for some reason. I don't know. I told him to send me the CD. The CD is called Reaper of Souls, and they're somewhere in Europe. They're a straight edge vegan metal band called Purified in Blood, and only one CD is good, in my opinion. It is incredible, and nobody knows that band exists outside of whatever country they're from. I forget. It's unreal how good that band is. They're so unappreciated. And then another one from that list was As Hope Dies. Since we're talking metalcore, that band blows my mind even still to this day. They're like heavier at the gates, and they just never really left Southern California and broke up many, many years ago. But yeah,
usually how that happens.
Yeah, fucking bums me out, man.
Is there anything you want to plug before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, Sean, you play bass in a band that I barely play in now, or that we barely play in now. So check out The World We Knew.
Yeah.
And then forthenomads.org is that organization that I started a couple weeks ago that are splitting funds evenly between our list is up to 130 different touring crew members now. So we're splitting all donations evenly between everybody. We're just at around $30,000 right now. You get that crazy T-shirt that Sean, you designed
Yes.
for anything $20 or more. And I don't know, you're helping a lot of people out if you donate to that, or just spread the word. If you spread it, that's cool too. So forthenomads.org. We're about to, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, launch a totally revamped website. We just redid the whole damn thing.
Nice.
There's a lot of cool stuff on there, and I'd appreciate it if you checked it out. forthenomads.org.
Awesome, man. Thank you for doing this. I hope everyone's been asked since I started. They're like, I want a wrestling episode. Well, you're getting like a fucking 2-hour long one, so hope you're happy.
Yeah, I mean, we covered. I mean, we didn't cover everything, but we covered it.
Yeah, we covered a lot of stuff. That's for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm stoked. I was the wrestling guy.
I know. Yeah, first one.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I thought as soon as I started this, I was like, I gotta have Frank on. We gotta talk about wrestling.
Yeah, that's why I needed to throw in a little bit of metalcore, but wrestling, woo!
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it. All right, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it, brother.
That's it for this one. If you made it to this point, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for checking that out. I hope you guys liked it. I'll definitely be having more wrestling episodes as this goes along. If you want to support the podcast, subscribe and rate on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on social media at Metalcore Nerds for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to support monetarily, go to redcircle.com/metalcore-nerds/donations. That's it for this one. Until next time, this is Metalcore Nerds.